What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what just came out associated to SoFi and why there is a hell of a lot more upside in the foreseeable future anticipated. Before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Side note, welcome back to the 16s, sitting at 1635, up 5.42%, 1638 the high, 1557 the low. Kind of low volume, so 37.8 million shares being traded, 43.1 is the average, so kind of low volume, but then again that's happening across the board, so nothing really to worry about. What is really fueling a lot of stocks today and just generally the market is negative data. So retail sales came in a little bit lower than the forecast. Initial jobless claims came in a little bit higher than the forecast. At the same time, you have a couple of Fed speakers reiterating that CPI yesterday was relatively strong. So you have all of that combined that equates to rate cuts, not necessarily for the January meeting, but rather for the March 19th. So having rate cuts, very good for the broader market. Consumers' buying power does increase, and that is just very fundamentally good for SoFi's business. So that's might be the next big catalyst, still within essentially Q1. So let me know your viewpoint on that. SoFi did actually put out news though, so came out first thing at 9 a.m. And ultimately, SoFi and PGIM Fixed Income announced a $525 million securitization agreement, signaling continued demand for personal loans. It is continued demand because you see that they already had a agreement of the similar sort in May 2024. So very good stuff. Their old agreement, it looks like it concluded up until the end of Q3 2024. This new one did close Q4 2024. So essentially it might be on their upcoming earnings. Not all that much, but still, I think this goes to show that SoFi's loans are valuable, are very good, desirable, of course, at the same time. And yeah, I think in general, this is a very beautiful circle of life, very profitable for PGIM as well. So I think this is good. Hopefully that'll shut up a lot of the bears. Although the bears are still somewhat out, and what I mean by that is there was a new rating today. I have no idea. I know I say this all the time, but SoFi just defies logic. Analysts should not be giving ratings before earnings. It just either is manipulation or something else. But you do have KBW, Tim, who has a 69% success rating, did maintain their sell $8 price target. So honestly, that is absolute craziness if you ask me. Aside from that, you did have a lot of good ratings. So 18, 16, 14, 13, not so much, 12 and whatever. But yeah, very strategic timing. As I kind of stated in like a week ago, it would be very interesting timing for Wedbush and also Compass Point to reiterate their very low ratings next week, leading into earnings, causing some disruption and whatever else. So let me know your viewpoint on that. Aside from that, shorts are currently returning 181,000 shares. 11.71% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 124.84 million shares. So it's good to see shorts continuously returning. I still do feel going into upcoming earnings, it'll be at that 11% range. And then from there, dependent on the numbers, they'll either double down or kind of continue to return. But cost to borrow minimum is negative, so negative 0.2, meaning there is a broker out there physically paying people to short SoFi once again. But pretty much, I think a good maybe 1/3 of the whole year, that's kind of the circumstance. So somewhat old news right now. But looking at the options, juicy amount of options. So 37 million in calls, 5.71 in puts. 52% of all the options being done today are optimistic in nature. And just looking here, already at 47.6 million. Yesterday was 30, 15 the day prior. So it definitely is showing a very strong amount of demand. So even just looking today, so the volume over the last 30 days in comparison, 1.5. Usually that is a signal of a buy, typically, of course. So definitely something to kind of consider. Of the call options that are being purchased, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 17 for this week, 18 for next week, and the week of their earnings. So encumbering, or I guess expiring January the 31st, there is a consensus for it to be roughly around 20. So yeah, going into earnings would be absolutely kick-ass if it was at 20. And then, of course, depending on the results, we'll see either a push higher or lower. I think everyone is kind of curious on what is going to happen post earnings. Everyone logically knows that it should be higher, but sometimes the market doesn't always realize that. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $15. So not really all that much going on from the bears. These are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you aren't seeing all that much in institutional transactions. Rather, you are seeing more from algorithmic trading, and there is a reason why they are starting to be rather bullish. But right now, with it at $16.30, there's about 2 minutes left in the trading day. It is right below this R3, so $16.34 is going to be that key pivot in the short term that you'll want to watch for it to get over tomorrow. $15.64 is going to be the next strong support, and it kind of bounced off of that. So going into the next couple of trading days, that in reality is going to be kind of most likely the bottom, at least. So just wait and see, watch out for that. And then aside from all that fun stuff, looking on the actual chart, as I mentioned right over here, you are going to see a very aggressive push higher, because you have kind of a unique circumstance. You had that ALMA and also 50-day moving average kind of pinning SoFi's actual stock price, kind of wedge bound between there. So there was either going to be a aggressive pull down or push higher. Given the kind of market momentum, it was very clear that it was going to move higher, and lo and behold, this is exactly what happened. So right now it is above the 50-day moving average, free and clear of it. Also, it did break above that super trend, so you can kind of see this green line right here. That is where you're getting a lot of the buying. Algorithmic trading is starting to be now on SoFi's side. You can clearly see when it does turn bearish, it just easily, it's kind of fighting an upward trend, so it does go down. And then having algos on your side is very advantageous. So right now, looking at stochastic RSI, it is somewhat neutral a little bit, so not really oversold nor overbought, but SoFi's technicals are looking absolutely epic. So if their earnings do come better than anticipated, then yeah, I do agree with the actual options that you could see $20. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. What is your viewpoint on this new agreement? Or I guess a repeat agreement if they just extended it. But honestly, I think this is really good. It shows SoFi's fundamental business is strong. What they're bringing in is strong. And I think that it stems from just SoFi being very selective, having high FICO scores of its customers and things like that. That kind of sets SoFi apart. So let me know your viewpoint on all of that. Do you think that SoFi is going to have a squeeze? I still see a lot of people chattering that SoFi is going to have a squeeze and stuff like that. DTC, on a side note, is 2.43, so that is rather high. So if SoFi does have some very good stuff that they unveil from their earnings, then yeah, you could see a very nice push higher, and shorts probably getting very anxious leading into the earnings. So let me know your thoughts. And what is with these crappy ratings, like right before earnings? Like the data points on a macro standpoint all justify higher highs. So where would a analyst, a logical analyst mind you, with a 69% success rating, think $8 is kind of acceptable? That's absolute craziness if you ask me. So what's your thoughts on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers. Even this one I put out yesterday, buy signal at 0.009, up a solid 478%. So definitely worthwhile to pop over and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.